Welcome back to the Customer Success Festival APAC. I hope you enjoyed the event so far. Before we dive into the next session, again, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all partners and speakers. We cannot do this without you. If you really like the content, please subscribe to our CSC membership, where you can get loads of templates, framework, on-demand videos, and be able to rewatch all the presentation sessions for this event. So head over to customersuccesscollective.com and treat yourself there. So sit back, and here's the next session.
And so I was saying, and now I'm working at EasyShip, which is a cloud shipping software powering e-commerce merchants to scale globally. All right. So the topic of today is voice of the customer. And here you see some very, very common struggles in SaaS. We do not receive a lot of feedback on new features when we launch them. This is a very common feedback from product, right? Or sometimes we lack inspiration for new features. Sometimes we launch features and we don't know what is the ROI of that feature, as in how many customers are using it. We sort of have a poor innovation on existing features. We don't improve them. We don't renew them, right? And sometimes we don't know how to prioritize feature ideas. So we have ideas, but we don't know how to prioritize them, right? So there's just some common examples. Now, before we go into the definition of voice of the customer, I wanted to show you a couple of quick benefits that have been proven by actual research. So I didn't make this stuff up, right? So increase upselling and cross-selling by 15 to 20%, right? It drives better customer experience. It drives higher customer retention rates, right? And it also helps to decrease customer service costs. We will see why. And to drive more referrals or positive word of mouth, all right? So you'll be probably wondering by now, okay, but what it is exactly voice of the customer, okay? So as Gainsight defines it, it's really the process of gathering and understanding customer expectations, preferences, and aversions to improve the product and customer experience, all right? It's basically a way to drive sales and product innovation through customer feedback. So what I really wanted to cover with you today are three main things. First, listen. Or these are really three key steps in the voice of the customer, in a good voice of the customer process. First of all, listen. How do you collect customer feedback? How do you collect data? Second, how do you share that data? Because most of the times you as CSM professional, you're not gonna go and build that feature yourself, right? So how do you share it to the right people? And how do you make sure that those people act on it? And third, how do you action that feedback as a CSM professional, but also in general as a company, right? So how do you create transparency on the feedback that is shared and on the progress of the features that you requested? But let's start with listen and watch. So there are three main ways to collect feedback. The first one is listen to your customers. I mean, you saw that coming probably, right? Voice of the customer. So this can be done through different ways, but it can be done through one-on-ones during your QBRs or EBRs or whatever you call them, during your catch-up calls, one-to-one calls, any way you interact with your customers. It can also be done through focus groups. So this is something that we're doing in EasyShip, and sometimes we have focus groups with specific personas or segments of clients. When we're launching a new feature, we know they might be interested in that. So we reach out to those clients and have a little focus group with them to identify needs and feedback early in the process. You can also have surveys, or if you want to have something a little bit more systematic, you can have a product advisory board. Okay, so this is basically a program and it's sort of a membership that you can share with your clients. And I'm going to expand a little bit more on that later on. Secondly, another way to collect feedback is listen to your employees. All right. So customer success for sure, but also customer service and sales are in the best spot to collect feedback from clients, right? And sometimes they also they have the ability to filter that feedback, right? And to put it into context. So to be able to listen to your employees, you need to first educate them in terms of what are the things that they need to be looking for, especially really this comes down to two things. And the first one is effectiveness of new features that you launch. And the second is, sort of awareness of existing or old features, right? Do they know they're there? Do they understand how to use them? So these are normally two very common feedback areas where CSMs and sales and CS guys can really help and always have something to say. And third and last, another channel is indirect feedback. So anything that you can see through usage data. For instance, this is something that Netflix is very big on. What are the films that trend the most? What are the films that people watch the most? Or in the SaaS space can be pages or features where customers spend a lot of time. This can be also a hint of a feature that is not clear, right, to set up. Secondly, share. So once you have collected this feedback, with who do you share it and how do you share it? So the first thing to do when you have collected your feedback is to centralize it, because a mistake that I've been doing that I see doing quite a lot is to collect a lot of feedback through different channels, but then not being able to make sense of it or to analyze it. So collect all the feedback and all the ideas in one place. I'm going to show you later on a suggestion of something that we're doing here at EasyShape, and I hope that helps. But really have it in one place where your product team can look at them, right, and prioritize them. Secondly, educate. So we mentioned this before already, but people don't share feedback if you don't tell them what you're going to do with it and how basically it's going to help them, how it's going to make their lives better. So explain to whoever is submitting feedback, so be it a customer or an employee, what you'll do with it, but also how educate employees especially, but also customers, how they should submit a feedback. What are the things that they should mention? Because a lot of people don't know. For instance, when you make a feature request or you suggest a feature idea, they don't think about talking, explaining what is the ROI. They don't think about explaining what is the business impact, or they don't know how to articulate or how the feature can help the team or the business, right? So you need to educate them on that. And finally, review. So this is something that I already mentioned before, right? Share how you can improve the awareness of existing features or the effectiveness of new features that you have launched, right? So if you focus on these two areas, these are normally two areas that product is always looking feedback for. So this is really going to help the team. There was an animation here, so I apologize. So what you see here, it's basically a form, and it gives you an idea of the fields that you can add to whatever form you're going to be using to collect feedback from customers if you're going to do a survey, and from employees, right? I have also added a resources section at the end with a link to the form template. And behind it, I'm not sure if you can understand it, but it's the idea for what I was talking about here in Centralize, right? So it's really a board. I don't know if you guys use Asana, but whatever I mean, there are a lot of tools out there right now, like Trello. Basically, it's a board that we use, and where all the feedback that is logged through the form on Asana fits into. So all the ideas end here, and they're moved from the product team to create visibility for whoever submitted the ideas, to see where whether we're going to work on the idea, on the feature suggestion or not, when it's going to happen. And you can also like it or add comments with clients who are interested in the feature. So we can notify those clients whenever we release that feature. All right. And the like, the thumbs up, it's really strong and easy way for our product team to sort of, understand what features are popular and what features are being, are being requested by a lot of users. All right. Finally, act. So how, you receive this feedback, you have shared it, how do you action it? So here as well, 3 key areas. First of all, create transparency. So transparency is key. Again, people will, at the end of the day, they will stop sharing feedback with you if they don't understand what you do with it, either employees or customers. So you need to create visibility on the progress on those features or requests, whether it's internal or external. So you can have product board like the one that I just showed you, although it wasn't really clear from the presentation. You can have product boards that are either internal or external, and that can really give a snapshot to whoever is the audience, the customer or employee, about what's going on with their ideas, right? Transparency is also done through updates. So whenever you have, you release a feature, especially if you see that the feature is very popular, post regular updates, especially if you see that the feature starts to become a little old, right? A couple of months been there, and it seems to be something high prior. So do have the tendency, create a process to share updates around what's going on with that feature request. Second, nudge. So this is something really important to do, because product receives dozens, sometimes hundreds of feature suggestions and ideas. So whenever your team shares feature suggestions, whether it's customer success or CS or sales, define a process to sit with product every now and then. I do it once a month, to review the high prior, high urgency feature requests, right? And help them prioritize, because sometimes, you have a board, but you have hundreds of ideas on the board. So it's good to help them and sort of reiterate why that feature is important. And lastly, but probably most importantly, acknowledge. Again, this is, you want to get feedback, then you need to acknowledge and reinforce whoever gives that feedback. So show the impact of the feature ideas that employees or customers are suggesting. So first off, if somebody's suggesting a feature, when the feature goes live, let them know that a feature is live. And secondly, find a way to celebrate or to show them how the feature helped your business grow, right? Or how it helped other customers. Like something really easy can be the number of customers that have adopted the feature. And if you can already link the adoption of a specific feature to a specific outcome, mention what is that outcome, aggregate level. That helps the customer or the employee feel valued, and way more likely in the future to post feedback again. So that's pretty much it. I appreciate this is short and sweet, and with the technical difficulties we had at the beginning, probably was a bit rushed. But I want to close with a couple of resources that I wanted to share with you. So the first one is a feature idea submission form, which is really a list of fields or with a little description of really things that normally you would need to ask to a customer or to an employee when they're making a feature suggestion. This helps to avoid back and forth between the product team or whoever follows up on the request and the submitter of the request. And secondly, I wanted to share with you a product roadmap board template. So this is on Trello, but you can really replicate this on any. I mean, there are really a gazillion of tools out there you can use for this. So this is really just food for thought in terms of fields and columns that you may want to incorporate in your product board. Okay. All right, so this is it. I hope you found this helpful. I know we have some Q&A. I hope we have some Q&A here, so I'll stop for the Q&A session.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you again for everyone staying here with us. We got a long comment and question here from Fikriana. He or she is saying, "Hi Andrew, just wondering if you have like a program or activity that you do in usership that could help product team understand better on requests from the customer, perhaps something like the regular sharing session, etc." Also, he or she agrees that transparency play a great role in order to help customers stay updated and help CSM to know the progress made by the product team. Have you experienced a situation where the product team feels reluctant to be transparent with the CS team regarding the feature updates?
Okay, a lot of questions. Thanks, Fikriana. I'm not sure if I pronounced the name correctly. Thanks for the questions. So first of all, your first question. I think so. The first thing to do is really have a process that allows whoever is the requester, so the customer or the CSM, to give product what they need to understand what is the feature. So in your form, have fields that basically the information that product wants. So in the template that I put, it's something that makes sense for me, and I think tends to make sense for a lot of companies. But of course, you need to tweak it to your specific business. So have fields that are relevant for product and that help product understand and scope the feature correctly to avoid back and forth. The second thing that you can do as well is have regular meetings with product on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, to review the features, because indeed sometimes they don't understand some feature requests or they have some pushback. They're not convinced. As you know, product have their own vision and strategy. So it does help to have regular meetings with them to review the features and help them understand why they're important. Really have a discussion with them. And then I think there was another question. Have you experienced a situation where the product team feel reluctant to be transparent with the CS team regarding feature update? Personally, I did, but it's always been because they either have a lot on their plate and they're working on other releases, other major releases that they want to prioritize. So I think that really when you feel that a product, someone in product is reluctant to share updates, probably take a step back and understand with them what's going on. Maybe they feel the feature isn't important, or maybe you're reaching out to them not as part of a defined process, but more as a a Slack message. Hey, what's going on with this feature? And if you put yourself in their shoes, it may be frustrating because they have a roadmap and they try to stick to that roadmap. So my suggestion is, in general, product folks like stuff that is scoped and planned. So trying to define a process and stick to the process with them. If you have a monthly call with them, a monthly meeting where you review all the feedback and the feature ideas that you want to prioritize, you really, I don't think you're going to get a lot of pushbacks.
Thank you for that answer. I think you answered all those questions pretty well. I hope that helps you, Fikriana.
I think there is sorry, go ahead, Ryan. I was saying there was another question from Esther.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to read it out for you. So do you time surveys at particular points in the customer journey based on business milestones like post onboarding, after major release, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. It's a really good question. So normally what we do is we already send a lot of surveys to our customers, so we try not to be too trigger happy with surveys. But what we do is we try to identify particular segments of clients. So for instance, whenever we release a feature, we have a population or a segment of client we think they're going to be really interested about that feature. And what we do is we send in-app surveys to those customers if they adopt the feature to collect feedback, or if they don't adopt the feature to understand, to get feedback on, did they, is it an awareness issue? Did they know it existed, it was there, or did they understand how the setup works, stuff like that. So these are the two main ways how we do surveys. I think there is another question, Ryan, from
Karen. Yeah. How often do you think CS should conduct like product roadmap session with our clients? Should this be a CS or product responsibility? Like, who owns this sort of function?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Karen, if probably I explained this poorly in my presentation, but no. So I don't think CSM should do a product roadmap session. So normally the way CSM collects feedback is through ongoing interaction. So when you have your, QBRs, your EBRs, your one-on-one sessions for whatever, resolving issues, you collect feedback. You hear stuff about the product. Clients comment us complaining about features, unfortunately, most of the time, right? I mean, not most of the times, but it happens, let's say. So when that happens, this is really why it's important to have a process that is defined and the form that is sort of easy to fill, and the team can just log the feedback and move on to the next thing. If you give the team, the CSM team, CS or sales too, a form that allows them to log the feedback whenever they have a call with the client, this will put you in such a better position to collect and action all that feedback. So to answer to your question, we don't have product roadmap sessions with clients. We do have, we're launching a product advisory board program. I didn't have the time to cover this in the presentation because we're a little bit tight on time, but long story short, it's a membership. So you have your customers who are normally, I'm sure you have customers that tend to be more active in, in suggesting features. So it's really reaching out to those customers and making sure that they become part of your decision-making process when it comes to defining features. I'm happy to share more feedback on and more details on product advisory board, Karen, if you reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Thank you. Sounds great. We also got a couple more questions. One from Vijay. He's wondering, can CS drive impact with a public roadmap? Also, can CS team use different VOC programs across the customer journey?
So public roadmap. So this is honestly, it's a tricky topic because there are great SaaS companies like HubSpot, for instance, who I don't think they have a public product roadmap, but they have a product roadmap blog. And so external product roadmaps are great. I think they create transparency. The only thing is you need to have an ad count or somebody who really follows it, because it can really easily becomes a toxic environment where people, hey, what is this feature? They keep asking about a feature, and I've been asking for this feature for years. It's a blog, so people can post whatever they want. So I would say yes, CS can drive impact with public roadmap. I think that the main benefit for CS is that clients ask us all the time about feature releases, about when you're going to release this feature. So it really makes you probably more proactive and sort of puts the customer in the driver's seat, or at least they have more transparency, more visibility around what's going on without having to ask the CSM. However, a word of caution there. You need to have somebody who really monitors that. Thanks, Karen. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, we got YS here. Got a long questions for you. So is diversity emphasized in your organization? Oftentimes, the largest customer base is in home market and the foreign market customers in Asia. From the minority and feedback, sometimes brush aside because the ROI doesn't benefit the majority. How can we help our minority customers put their feedback across and get adopted?
Great question.
Great question.
This is a great question, YS. Thanks. And I'll respond with one word, or probably, it's 3 words: ROI. So, you may say it's a smaller customer, so they cannot be hurt. But the ocean is made of drops, right? So maybe one customer wants something and they're big, and it's just them that will want it. And by the way, normally big customers that want customizations are really complex. It's something that normally applies only to their use case, as opposed to small clients. They tend to have use cases that are applicable to other clients. And if you have a product roadmap that allows you to identify clients who are interested and log all the requests, you can put together 5, 10, 15, 20 small clients, and that makes a bigger argument than a big client that wants it, that wants a feature request. You see what I mean? So my suggestion is try to really focus on this process of logging the requests, put them on a board, know where the clients are interested, and quantify the ROI, as in, subscription, I don't know, whatever revenue target you use of those clients. And then you can quantify what is the expected ROI, or, how that feature would benefit a segment or a population of clients. But it's not an easy one. It's a good question. Yeah, it's surely it's tough.
It's a great answer from you. I can guarantee that. Yes, I think we still got time for a couple of more questions. And again, thank you for everyone staying here with us. I'm just wondering. Well, I got a quick thing that I want to share. Since you mentioned that there was a couple of animations in your slides that is not showing up here, it's only because, mainly because it's now in PDF version. Do you think you want to share screen and show the animation to, maybe in a more visual way? Does it work?
No, it's fine. It's fine. They were just to help the audience focus on one thing at a time. But yeah, I don't think there was anything, no video or huge animation. It's fine, Ryan. Thanks for asking.
All right, cool. No worries.
However, I wanted to share the resources in the presentation. So I don't know if this slide deck is going to be made available to the audience after the.
Yeah, I mean, if you can share the latest slide decks with the reference that you mentioned here, I can pass it to attendees who would want it. If that works for you, that works for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it works.
Sounds great. And yeah, thank you, Jonathan, YS, VJ, and everyone else. If there's no further questions, I need to call it off here. Again, please feel free to connect Andrew via LinkedIn. If you have some other follow-up questions or post events, I'm sure he will be more than happy to connect with you and then have a bit more conversation or virtual coffee with you. Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. I'll see you all next time.
Take care. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.